Let's talk about 2025. It was a huge year for U.S. immigration policy, a year that really changed the game for anyone looking to visit, work, or live in the United States. We're going to break down the 5 biggest changes that completely redefined the rules of the road. And just to be super clear, we're not talking about small adjustments here. This was a ground-up overhaul of the system, affecting everyone from tech workers and tourists to families trying to build a new life. That's the big question, right? And that's exactly what we're going to dive into. We'll walk through the 5 key policy shifts, one by one, so you can really get a handle on the new landscape of American immigration. All right, so first up, a massive change to the system for skilled workers. This one specifically targets a visa that's basically become the backbone of the American tech scene. For decades, the H-1B visa has been the primary way for U.S. companies to bring in top talent from all over the world. Think software engineers, scientists, you name it. But in 2025, the rulebook for that visa got a major rewrite. The administration basically redesigned the whole system to be way more selective. The stated goal here was to stop H-1B visas from being used for what they called lower-wage positions. Instead, they wanted to reserve them for those truly high-skill, high-paying jobs. And they added a pretty huge financial hurdle to make sure that happened. And here it is. As part of this overhaul, President Trump introduced a brand new fee, and it's a jaw-dropper. $100,000 for each H-1B visa application. I mean, wow, that's a move clearly designed to make companies think very, very hard about who they're sponsoring. And here's the official justification. The Department of Homeland Security presented these new rules as a way to protect American jobs, saying the old system was being misused and that this would better protect the wages, working conditions, and job opportunities for American workers. Okay, let's move on to our second big change. This was a brand new program that got a ton of attention, the Trump Gold Card. You can think of this as an immigration fast lane, basically. This program created a whole new path to getting a green card, that's lawful permanent residency, and it was specifically built to be an accelerated process for those who could afford to pay their way to the front of the line. And that's the entry fee. A $1 million investment in the United States gets you in the door to apply for this new visa. It puts a very direct, very high price tag on gaining residency. And here, you can see the economic thinking behind it, straight from the source. President Trump himself said he expected it would bring in well over $100 billion, and he was very clear that this money would be used for domestic goals, like cutting taxes and paying down the national debt. All right, let's switch gears from visas to vetting. This next section is all about 2 new but related changes to how the U.S. screens every single non-citizen who comes to the border. The new screening approach really comes down to 2 simple ideas. Your face is your passport, and your social media is your resume. It's all about confirming your physical identity with biometrics and your digital identity through your online history. Let's break down how each one works, starting with our third major change. So change number 3 is this massive expansion of facial recognition. It now applies to all non-citizens, both entering and leaving the country. And here's the key part, that now includes legal permanent residents, green card holders. U.S. citizens can opt in if they want, but it's not required for them. And the fourth change is all about your digital life. If you're a traveler applying to enter the U.S. under the Visa Waiver Program, that's the online ESTA system, you're now required to provide your social media handles from the past 5 years as part of the application. And the official reason for both of these new screening tools comes down to one thing: national security. U.S. Customs and Border Protection said these steps were necessary to follow an executive order aimed at stopping foreign terrorists and other security threats from getting into the country. And that brings us to our 5th and final big change. This one affects the very last step of the journey for so many immigrants: the test you have to pass to officially become a U.S. citizen. The test got significantly harder. Applicants are now looking at twice as many questions, 20 instead of just 10. And yeah, the passing grade is still 60%, but the content is tougher. For instance, instead of just naming one branch of government, now you have to name all 3. The bar is definitely higher. The agency in charge, USCIS, explained this by saying that citizenship should only be reserved for aliens who will fully embrace our values. They see this more difficult test as the tool to make sure that happens. So when you step back and look at all 5 of these changes together, you start to see a few clear themes, don't you? The policies of 2025 point to a system that's much more selective, it's more expensive, it's way more focused on security, both digital and biometric, and it places a much bigger emphasis on civic knowledge as that final hurdle.
Look, this isn't just about some new fees and forms. This is really about redefining America's entire relationship with the rest of the world. And the ultimate question all these changes leave us with is, how will this reshape the country's workforce, its economy, and its very identity on the world stage?